Happy Tuesday, Terry Tuesday. Well, it should be Happy Thomas Tuesday because you both start with T. So let's get ready for day 2 at Royal Ascot. But before we get to day 2, Tom, let's kind of recap some of your observations for day 1.
Well, on the straight course, besides seeing some really good horses win, they were all going down the middle, and a little to the stand side, but I would say more in the middle. And our winners all came from the center. So Baid, Nature, Strip, etc. They all won to going down the middle. On the round course, that 2 mile and 6, the speed gave up and everybody caught up to them, and one kept going, but the rest of them we were getting past pretty easily. Mm-hmm. And we also saw that in the 1.25 mile race too, around the turn. The speed, both mine were in the front, and they went backwards pretty quickly and got overtaken without too much trouble. So what have we learned? Well, it's firm. It's definitely a very firm course. There are a few of them that have not liked that course at all. And some of them need to learn how to get out of the gate, like Golden Pal.
Yeah.
Terrible race.
Well, unfortunately, the Americans didn't show up today. Maybe they'll show up.
The Australians did, but not the Americans.
Yeah, well, at least they all speak English. English, Australia,
yeah.
England, U.S. All right, but Ireland speaks English too. Let's see. Today, we're going to cover 7 races again.
We are.
Indeed. So I guess the recap is bet the horses in the middle, don't take speed, right? Is that the
Well, the only one that was able to pick it up and one from the outside was mine, Bradwell, who in the second race was in the outside one of the outside posts, and they Holly Doyle brought the horse over from and one going away in that middle run, but she had to move on him a little earlier than I think she wanted to.
And then just a quick recap of some of the outcomes between you and I through the first 5 races. Either you or I we had the winner either on our top pick or as our second pick, which was a positive. And then we got to bragging about that a little bit on the early show with Terry from Mountaineer. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out for tonight's races at Mountaineer Park. So I was bragging on you and I. Yeah, we're kicking ass. Between you and I, if you just took our top 2 picks, did pick 3s, pick 4s. I don't know if you can do that over there.
No pick 4s. No,
you'd be making some money. Well, doubles maybe, right?
The swingers.
And you said you wanted to explain a swinger. What is a swinger?
A swinger,
not in the American definition,
is if your horse finishes first, second, or third, and you have let's say you pick the 1 and the 2. If the 1 and the 2 run first and second, you win. If they run second and third, you win. Mm-hmm. So essentially, it's a sort of a super quinella, basically.
Something like that.
But yeah, as long as your horse finishes in the money, you get paid.
You get some money back. All right. So that wraps it up. And then, of course, Jared had the 2 horse. He mentioned that earlier on the show as his third pick in race number 6. And that one was like 24-1, I think. So, and none of us managed.
And it was a Godolphin horse.
And none of us managed to bring home the top prize in the last race. Okay. So let's go to race number 1 at tomorrow on the 15th of June. This one, Thomas, is going to start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 5 furlongs and a turn. You like that down there?
And ignore that 12:30.
That's 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I know. I was kidding you yesterday.
Well, it's 12:30. It wasn't just me. You see, it's right here on the phone.
Yeah, I know.
So they were messing me up, these Brisnet folks. But this one is 5 furlongs on the turf. It's the Queen Mary Stakes, grade 2 for $155,000. And like we did yesterday, I put together a pace setup of what this race might look out. And there's a whole lot of horses in this race, Thomas. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of early speed on the left-hand side. The 6 horse is one that can sit off the pace and bring it home. All of these guys in the middle, they want to pressure from the 7, the 8, to 12. They want to sit right behind the leaders. And only the 14 is a closer. So maybe, just maybe, you might want to just take a flyer on that 14 just in case. All right, Thomas.
Possibly, but I think the speed's been holding up with that firm course pretty heavily, and I'm on one of the speed horses to start with.
All right, who is that?
I took number 10, Manhattan Jungle, as my top choice. It's drawn 20.
Number 11, it looks like.
Oh, I'm sorry, 11.
Number 10 is Love Reigns. No, I mean, Love Reigns in the Manhattan Jungle, right? What the hell? It goes together.
I guess so. 3 for 3, all in France, and at 3 different tracks. Last race stuck out to me. Raced at Vichy at 5 furlongs on the soft going. It was a 5-horse field. She won by a length and 3/4, and she went in a snappy 57 and won. That's quick.
Quick enough.
Especially on a soft course.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the times of some of these other horses, and they're not even close to that. So, I mean, it'll be interesting, of course, to see her on a firm going, because she's only run on soft and very soft. But her sire was a 5 furlong specialist. A dam won 1 race. It was on the all-weather, and this is her first fold. I like the odds, don't like the draw necessarily. Got to be on the stand side, but hopefully up the middle or something close to that, and this horse will be right there at the end. But as I said, that time just really jumped out at me.
Popped off the page.
Yeah. Number 12, Maria Branswell is my next choice. I was draw 16, 2 for 2. They're both at 5 furlongs on the good and good to soft run. She ran in a listed race at Sandown last out against the males. And what was interesting was comments like she was green in the final furlong. She ran to the lead and won by a neck. Well, I actually was looking at tomorrow's race, the next day's racing, and there's a horse that ran against her and who looks pretty good. So I'm really thinking that may be a nice key race. As we saw with the Chester race, some of the better horses came out of that one and did pretty well today. One won and one came in second in the long race. This may be a race to look at going forward, that listed race at Sandown. So, his sire was good at 2 years old, and after that, not so much. But interesting enough, his 2-year-olds have won at a 38% clip. So that's not so bad.
No.
The dam was unraced, and this is her first fold at 1 out of 3. So don't know a lot about the breeding side of her, except that they liked 5 furlongs, and certainly this is going to be right up her alley again.
Mm-hmm.
Number 17, One More Oily is my next choice. 1 for 1 run at Chelmsford on the all-weather. Traveled well, sat behind the leaders, switched to the right, and went on. Just ran a nice race. And this was not a maiden race. This was a Class 2 race. So a little extra advantage in terms of running against a little better, in theory, better company. The sire won twice as a sprint, and they were listed wins. So he's an okay producer, really a mixed bag as a producer. Haven't seen anything outstanding, but nothing terrible. Dam never won, but she's out of a top class sprinter by the name of Invincible Spirit, who was a 6 furlong specialist, and he was very good. So distance isn't an issue for me with this one. 5 furlongs should be right up her alley in terms of does she want to run longer or not? And I don't think so. I think she's just going to be a sprinter.
Should be one more up her
golden. To go really quick, to go with Love Reigns, who won by a city block at Keeneland, and will be the favorite in here. The thing that sticks out for me is that her sire and siblings all liked more distance. So she did something none of them have really done. They want to go mile and a half, mile a quarter, mile and a half. So my concern is against this field, which has got some very talented sprinters in here. And as I said, Manhattan Jungle at 57 really jumps out at me. My concern is this is too short for her against a quality field. And maybe not, and she'll prove me wrong, but Golden Pal couldn't get out of the gate. So hopefully Irad is going to figure it out this time around.
Well, I'm hoping so that the Americans can bring one home because I'm going to back Irad and Wesley Ward with Love Reigns as my top choice. Number 12, Maria Baranwell will be my second choice. Now I'm going to cut down here to Omni Queen. The 16 horse is going to be dead center of the, or at least one of the center horses. And then finally, number 1 wraps up my top 4. That is All the Time. And All the Time is going to come home all the time. 14-1. So that's my top 4. Tom and I will put all of our picks up in on horseracingtoday.net. So you can head on over there a little bit later on when we post the recap.
And in our show on Friday, we had somebody talk about why in June we're talking about the Breeders' Cup. Well, today we had 2 races that are win and you're in Breeders' Cup races.
Mm-hmm.
And that first race with Baid, I think he'll show up for because he may be there. I think they're thinking longer for him, but you never know. He may be in the turf. Mm-hmm. And the other one, of course, was the Sprint. Nature's Strip, I'm not sure he'll be shipping in to the U.S. for the Breeders' Cup, but you never know. He is winner down in Australia, and they moved him up here. He looked pretty good, winning by 5+ lengths.
So tomorrow, the races that we're covering, the Prince of Wales Stakes is another Breeders' Cup win and you're in effort. So that should, we'll see. I think we'll see some of these horses in November at Keeneland.
I'd be very surprised if we don't, because there were some really good horses, and through the week, of course, these 5 days, they really put on a show.
So race number 2, Thomas, is the Queen's Vase Stakes. It's a grade 2 for $354,500. I don't know why they just make it. Why not make it 355 or 354? I don't understand
But they're converting it from pounds to dollars.
No, so it must be an even amount of pounds over there.
Yeah.
All right, I get it. All right, so in race number 2, again, taking a quick look at the way the race breaks down. You got a lot of folks in this 1 3/4 race that I have figured out either want to be up towards the lead or pressuring the lead. Only the 9 horse is one that might like to come from off the pace and win. So at 1 3/4, you could see, relatively speaking, whatever speed is at 1 3/4. But I do think you could see some horses try to get to the front. And if we look at 1 3/4 on the track, Thomas, let's take a look at where they're going to start. 1 3/4, they're going to start here, and then they're going to go a little bit more than one full loop, right?
That is correct. And we had one race today that ran that right. So
and how did that one play out?
Speed collapsed.
Well, we talked a little bit about that, right? Well, there's a lot of horses in here that look like they want to have some giddy up and go, Tom. So it'll be interesting to see how all that works out. Okay, so let's go ahead and see who you like in the Queen's Vase one time around the track.
You start with number 10, Emotion is my first choice. And ran at Goodwood last out, was 5th, beaten by 13 lengths. She had to be steadied. She switched to the right, moved up to 2nd, and then flattened out. This was a listed race, so she's dropping a little here. I mean, it's a good fit for her. She lost her novice race by big lengths, and the winner was the one who ran 2nd in the Oaks, which was Emily Upjohn. This is also a Gosden with Kieran Fallon going to be riding this horse, and I think this is going to be an interesting bet because this horse looks like it's got some potential. It's just not getting there. And so I'm throwing it in there because I think this may be a nice spot for it. And the distance seems to be right. Number 7, Nanhana, I guess.
Nahani. I think he was a soccer player for Portugal, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, I'll take whatever you say. I'll take it.
Just a guess.
This is a horse that's coming back really quick because it ran 7th in the Epsom Derby. Prior to that, it had 3 wins in a row, and 2 of those were at novice level, and one was a listed race at 10 furlongs. In the Derby, he dwelt to the start. He was slow into stride. When he was pushed to go, he went a little, but he really finished pretty evenly. again, he's got to get out of the gate cleanly. But I also like the fact that William Buick is going to be riding this horse again. And I think that will help his chances versus his last outing, even though I don't think he had much chance in that race before. But he has shown in novice levels and going distance that he's able to do it. So pretty interesting to see. Number 3, another Gosden horse, Baltic Bird, is I'm going to take with draw 11. It's my final selection. This appears to be a big improving horse, but lost big in its first race and then ran third and then missed out by a neck, then ran second by a neck again, and then won his maiden by 3 lengths. So progressively, this horse looks like it's getting a little better each race. And, it's all these races were at either 11.5 furlongs or 12 furlongs. So this is one they were already prepping for, these longer type races. His sire is Frankel. We know how good he was. The Dam was a nice winner at distance. So her other folds also ran at distance. So everything seems in line. Frankie Dettori did not win a race today. I think this is one he's got a great chance on.
Tomorrow is the day for Baltic Bird. Well, for me, I'm going to start with number 7. Nahani, I'm going to start with the Portuguese soccer player. I think that's where he was. And I also like number 3, Baltic Bird. So look out. So you and I are on a similar path right now.
Yeah. But as I've mentioned before, look at all the tip numbers that are in this this one. Almost every single horse in the top bunch are being tipped. Yeah,
Nahani seems to have the most, so we probably should get the hell away from that one. And number 6, Hafit, also has a tip. I don't know what the BF stands for, but like best friend, maybe. I don't know. That's my third or maybe betting favorite. You think that's what that stands for? And then
it's number be right in there. It should. I mean, I don't think it'll be the favorite. I would be very surprised if it's the favorite. But again, it's a Godolphin, James Doyle up. That's not a bad combination to have.
And then I'm going to close out my top 4 with number 11, Perfect Alibi, to bring home my 4 picks. Again, I'll have everything highlighted and posted over on horseracingtoday.net. Excuse me, in just a little bit. So make sure you head on over there to check that out. I don't know where that came from. That just out of nowhere, you get that scratchy feeling in your throat, right, Tom? So race number 3 is the Prince of Wales Stakes, and this is the one that we mentioned is going to be the race for the Breeders' Cup, right? If I mentioned it correctly.
It is.
$1.4 million. You got to say that like, what was the comedian's name? Mike Myers in Goldfinger? Is that what it called? I don't remember the name of the show. But in any case, this again, as we take a look at what the pace might break down for this race, that's 1.25 miles on the turf course.
Only got really 5 horses.
Yeah, not a lot of horses in this race. So we're going to say, and the funny thing is, none of them really wants to take the lead. Most of them prefer to either pressure the lead or close. So that's going to make, I think, for some interesting tactics in this spot, Thomas. Because
this is definitely a rider's race, without question in my mind. So I took. Oh, go ahead. Finish the.
No, just going to show a mile and a quarter. You just got like this 3/4 of it.
We had one race like that today. So.
And how did that one play out? The speed broke out. The closest ran by.
But it's really hard in a 5-horse field. I mean, this was a bigger field. It doesn't favor the outside, obviously, horses because they got to get over. In a 5-horse field, you really don't have that problem.
No, there's no such thing as an outside horse.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big favorite in here, and I'm going to try to beat it because it's never won a Grade 1. Yes, it's doing very well, and there are tons of tips on it, but I took the Japanese horse, number 3, Sharada, draw 3. Winner of the Shima in Dubai, beating Yaber, got an inside run. Did very, very nice there, and I really can't complain. I mean, it's a Group 1 winner in Japan, 7 starts, 4 wins, and 2 seconds. 2/3. And there's a little concern with the distance, but he's won between 1 1/16 and 1.5 miles. So to me, in a 5-horse field, if a good ride by Christian Demir, he'll be right there again. He seems to be well firmed, and we know how good the Japanese horses are doing on the international stage.
Yes.
I don't see this one out of that, and I do see this one in the Breeders' Cup. If it stays sound and fit, I think that's their ultimate target, and he will be a handful if he can get there. The other horse that I really liked in this race was number 4, State of Rest, who has draw 1. Both his races this season are in Group 1, so he won one at Paris Longchamp, and he finished 3rd in the Curragh. In the Curragh race, in my opinion, he moved forwardly a little too early. And then when he swung out to make his run, he was on the outside and just really had no chance to win it. And prior to that, he'd won 3 in a row. He's a very good horse. There's no question about it. He's going to give my top choice all he can handle. And if he wins, I would not be surprised. Lord North, number 2, is going to be my final, has draw 5. I would call it the last race an uneventful 4th in a grade 1 at the Curragh.
Mm-hmm.
He ran okay for most of the race, but didn't finish. And yeah, that was not great. But in the Dubai Turf that he ran, he was dead heated when he came flying at the end. So he won, but he won. Prior to that race, he had won a all-weather race to prepare for that. So he, let's face it, he's a good runner. He's 6 years old. And he can run, and he's proved it. And I think that dead heat really woke me up on him a little more, because I'm looking at it going, wow, he's just flying.
So in a 5-horse field, you're going to pick 3 horses, and not one of them is going to be the even money favorite. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct. I'm leaving Bay Bridge out.
Courage. I'm going to start with the same horse as you, the 3-horse, because in a 5-horse field, as I mentioned, none of these horses really want to get towards the front. So I do think they're likely to kind of walk out and jog early on. And I think that the 3-horse, Shahryar, should have the opportunity to set the tone from beginning to end. I don't think you could throw out the 1-horse at 1-to-1 odds, Bay Bridge. So I'm going to make him my second choice. Try to beat him as well, Thomas. And I'm going to bring home the top 3 with number 2, Lord North, to round out the top 3. You can't go 4. Terry and Sean won't let me go 4 if there are only 5 horses in the field.
Well, let's just say in this race, there are not any bad horses. These are all proven stayers, all horses that can run at this distance and have been successful. And if you look at their dollars that they've made, they've even Grand Glory, who's on the bottom, the mare, she's done pretty well for herself too.
And this last race 4, is probably the last time, Tom, at tomorrow's card where you might be able to find a horse where, you might, just because the field is going to change a lot in terms of field size. So race number 4 is a mile on the turf for the Duke of Cambridge Stakes, $236,500. It's going to start at 11:20 a.m. Eastern. And if we take a crack at what the early pace might look like in the last race, where there's not a whole lot of horses, so where pace might make the race, looks like the 2 and the 6 are the ones that are going to get out to the front. Everybody else wants to either chase or close. So once again, I think there's an opportunity for maybe the 2 or the 6 to get towards the front, run a decent pace, maybe get overrun at the end like a lot of them do, but possibly hang in there for a piece at the end. That's kind of maybe the best hope for some of those speed horses, the way that today played out. All right, Tom, for race number 4, you like who to get started? Oh, but hold on. Before we do that, that's 1 mile. I keep forgetting to do this. 1 mile, they're going to start here at the top of this hill, and then they are going to zoom their way down and then come to the circle.
We have to check the conditions, because we blew it on one yesterday. One race was a straight mile, and the other one was on the turn, the turn. And I don't remember what this race is. to be honest.
This one says straight.
Okay,
STR.
so it's on the straight mile. This is
on the straight mile. So they're going to start back here and just go.
Yeah.
All right.
Big
so do you
difference.
think they could beat Sherry Richardson at a mile, or do you think Sherry Richardson would beat them at a mile?
I don't know. Never know.
It would be a tight race. All right.
Now,
so race number 4.
I am going to be a little chalky here. I like number 5, Mother Earth, with draw 6 is my top choice. She's face open company, the males being in Newberry last out in a Group 1 going a mile. And guess who won the race? Baid. She asked to go at 2 furlongs, and she was just no match for the winner. It was the best way to describe it. I mean, she finished 7th, but that was not, again, against the males, and it was, pretty tough. Our first race of the season, she dropped into a Group 3 race at the Curragh and won. This is a horse that's mainly been running in Group 1s, and so this is a bit of a drop for her. Even off a Group 3 win. She's just battled away and doesn't have a lot of wins, but when she seems to face her own sex, she seems to do much better. But I don't blame him for being a little aggressive with her. This is Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. They know how to win races, and she ran well in the Breeders' Cup a couple years ago. I mean, she's a good horse. I did take one of the front runners as my next choice, which is number 6, Novembra, who has draw 3. Raced at Baden-Baden last out in a Group 2 race, tracked the leaders and moved forward at 2 furlong, and then kind of faded. Again, this is a front runner. She ran 4th last year in a good race at Royal Ascot. But this year, the difference is, she is a Group 2 winner. And not in England, but in Germany. But they are using a Sibylle Vogel as the rider. They're bringing her over, and she's a Swiss rider who mainly rides in Germany and has been on this horse before. So I like that move because last year they didn't do that. My final choice is another chalk, being I should be one of the favorites. Saffron Beach was number 1, draw 5, ran 4th to Lord North in Dubai. Last out after a 3 wins in a row in group races. Now she's heading back, like Mother Earth, she's heading back to the fillies and mares level of racing. And really, to me, it just depends on how much that Dubai trip took out of her. Otherwise, he's got William Buick up, and if that horse is ready to go, it's going to be very, very tough in this race.
And I am going to go with number 3, Bashkarova. This horse beat me recently, Thomas.
It did.
And I'm not going to let it happen again. I'm going to go with the number 1 horse next, Saffron Beach, as my second choice. So it looks like it's going to be the favorite in this spot. Mother Earth, your other pick, to start off your picks, is going to be my third choice. And I'm going to bring it home with number 2, Sevilla, Spain. In this race. So that's going to be 3-1, 5 and 2 for me in race number 4 at the Royal Ascot tomorrow. Then moving off to race number 5, Tom. Let me just pull this out of here real quick and then close this. We'll go off to race number 5, Tom. In race number 5, I'm going to pull this up real quick so I get the right thing on the screen. Race number 5 is going to be the Royal Hunt Club. Royal Hunt Club Handicap is the name of this race, and this one is going to be 1 mile on the turf again. And if we take a quick look at race 5, what the pace looks like, in this case, you're not going to get away with just 8 horses, Tom. You're not going to get away with 5 horses.
Far from in a heritage handicap.
And the thing is, I have no idea what color. Like, I know over there they don't wear red, white, blue, green like all we do over here, but
no.
For our sake, to help keep track of everything, this is kind of what it looks like. So I had to go with just gray and black, right? Because there's so many. Now, how many horses can actually run in this race?
30 horses, and the other ones are on the reserve.
So that means there's 3 horses that might not run.
They could draw in with some scratches, and we only had 2 scratches today. So
well, I would imagine
most people they're there to run.
Yeah, and with the track conditions being solid, there's no real reason, right, to scratch them. But
We will see scratches following day. Trushan is going to get scratched out of the long race with Stradivarius is in. He does not like good to firm. He likes it moisture in it. So I'd be very, very surprised if they run that horse.
And despite 5,000 horses running in this race, Tom, looks like all of them, there's got very few that want to actually be on the lead. The 32 might not even make the race. So you might only have 3 or 4 that actually like to be forwardly placed. All of the others like the pressure or close. So again, there's an opportunity. If the funny thing is, one of these pace horses in the middle or these pressure and closer types is going to try it if it gets a little bit fast. So it can speed up. But if they run the way their form has been, there's an opportunity again, I think, for a horse to get towards the front, run some slowish fractions, maybe not the fastest fractions in the world, and then bring the race home. So out of 30 horses, Tom, I have just curious, how do you decide which one of the 30 to play?
Well, I do what I always generally do, which is I try to break them down get down to about 7 or 8 horses, and then just put them up on the dartboard and just throw darts at it and see what comes up.
Yes,
my dart coming up method, I picked number 4. Intelligence is my top choice. It's recently transferred to trainers. It did most of its running in France prior to this. They put it in a Class 2 handicap, and it ran second. And they ran it in a listed race at Ascot, and it ran third. The Ascot race was a small field; it was only 4 horses, but he finished in front of some group winners, and it looked nice. I mean, it was a nice horse. I mean, he's a 7-year-old. He's got back class. He's won Group 1s at 3 at Deauville. I mean, he ran in the Arlington Million. He ran 6 to Bricks and Mortar. I mean, he's had good spells, and then he's gone. But he looks like with those 2 races that he just recently run, he looks like he may be back to his old form, and he certainly's got the back class. So I'm gonna take a shot with him.
And just for the record, this one is another mile.
This
is another one that's a mile straight one. Yeah. I'm sorry that I forgot to bring that up, but
that's important because we're going to assume they're all going to go down the middle again. From what I heard in the past was that the stand side is firmer than the inside, and they like to do the running there. They also, earlier in the year, when they had one of the Ascot meets, they were setting up the gate on the near side or the stand side. So for mile races or 6 furlongs or whatever, they were all set up. The gate was set up there. Not like here we're going to have it in the center. We have to have it in the center with 30 horses anyways.
It's going to stretch from one end to the other.
Yeah, it sure is. So it'll be interesting. And again, I'm not fond of the 4 hole as the draw because again, he's going to have to get over. But if he's as good as he once was, and he seems to be coming to form at this level, I think he's going to be very competitive. I took 2. Escobar is my next choice. Is draw 5. 2 races this season, a win and a Class 2 and a handicap at Yarmouth at 7 furlongs, and then he tried Group 3 company last out at Epsom and finished 4th of 6. I like the last effort. He ran against some good horses. He moved well. He was right there and then sort of gave up. Well, he may have been a little short on being able to run at a Group 3 level. But now back to Class 2s, I think he's much more suited for that. I like his odds, and I also think he's got a good chance. Again, this is one we'll have to get over because he's coming out of the 5 draw. Whereas my number 26, Totally Charming, got draw 17.
Again, carpal tunnel syndrome, trying to find that one.
Yeah, well, you may be paging for a while. That's got Frankie Dettori up. They're switching from William Buick. I don't think they're losing much by making that change because Frankie's got to ride one of the horses he's contracted for. And last race at Epsom, I was really impressed. I picked the 3rd horse in this race, went off at long odds, and this one just really looked impressive because when they asked this horse to go, it did, and then when it got challenged, it kept going. And I really think it can win again. It won a all-weather race as the favorite at a mile. So the distance to me, either around turns or semi-straights or whatever you want to call it, is handle the turns. I think it can hand this straight away, and it's one you got to watch out for.
The one I'm going to watch out for right up front is the Legend of Dubai, number 24. And then I'm also going to go with your 26 horse here, Totally Charming, Thomas. It's in honor of Terry, right?
Yeah.
Number 27, Dark Shift, is my third choice. And then I'm going to close it out. I'm going to go all the way back up here after going on those other horses. And I'm going to go with number 15, Desert Peace. So for me, it's 24, 26, 27, and 15 in race number 5 tomorrow. And
there is no big favorite in here. And if you may get 6-1 as your favorite. So if you can figure this race out, it could be a nice payday.
Well, the 30 horses that are going to run, it could be a lot of fun. I think maybe you got to have I think a price is likely to hit that race. But you got 30 horses. So many different things can go on in the course of a mile race. There's going to be bumping. There's going to be blockage. There's going to be bad trips. I mean, you name it. Whatever can go wrong in that race, some horse is going to experience whatever can go wrong is going to go wrong from beginning to the end. So race number 6, Tom, is the race. Let me just write something down here real quick. 37.01. Race number 6 is the Windsor Castle Stakes. This one's 135-year-old, 135 bucks. I'm saying 135-year-old. Damn old horses, man. I would want to be a horse. I don't know. I don't want to live that long. It's already painful at 55. You get back hurts, knee hurts, unfortunately. But back to 5 furlongs on the turf. And again, we're not getting a short field here, Thomas, because I think this one we have 24 horses in there again. Looking at the early pace, there's plenty of giddy up and go out of the gates. A few horses that don't mind sitting right off the pace with the 10, the 22, and the 23. The 1 and the 7 are first-time starters, so you really have absolutely no idea what they're going to bring to the table. So they can really upset the balance of this race one way or the other. But for the most part, the majority, if not all of these horses, except for 2, Chateau, they all want to be pressuring the pace. That's the way they found the winner's circle. So it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out. I got to imagine, though, Tom, speed's going to be the way. The winner will be up towards the front all the way around the track. So for race number 6 with these 2-year-olds, are you any chance you're going to take any of the first-time starters? Tom, you showed some courage before.
I did take a maiden in this race.
What's that?
So I will admit that I took a maiden in this race.
Yeah, right.
So, but
not a first-time starter.
Not a first-time starter, no. But I did take as my top choice Aidan O'Brien's horse, number 12, Little Big Bear, who I think may be the favorite.
Yeah, it looks like it right now, 9-4.
Yeah, draw 2. Last out at Nance, won by 3 lengths, and it could have been more, frankly. I looked at the first race, he lost by a head in the final stride. Well, obviously competitive. Never complain about the team up of Ryan Moore with Aidan O'Brien. He didn't do too well today, but I think he's going to do better tomorrow. This horse I think has improved from race to race, and obviously winning. And it'd be interesting to see what this horse can do. Mm-hmm. This is a first crop sire. He's got 3 winners from 17 runners, so just all 2-year-olds right now. And the dam, number 1, and this is her first fold, so we really can't tell a lot by the breeding. The next choice is number 17, Seismic Spirit. And this is Wesley Ward's horse with Irad up.
Better get out of the gates.
Yeah, he lost the final stride at Churchill in a 3-horse field last time out. And again, that dirt time jumped out at me at 57-1. Got another one that really ran well. He's not won. He's got 2 races, one at Keeneland and one here, and one at Churchill. But again, the time, I mean, he didn't lose by much, and yeah, it was a good race. Sire is a Group 1 winner. The foals have run well on all kinds of different types of tracks. Obviously, the dirt, whatever. And the Dam is only a maiden winner at 7 furlongs, and she really liked the Good to Firm Going. And I think the Good to Firm Going, if this horse gets out of the gate, may surprise some people. And there is going to be the Wesley Ward bet factor here, but I still think you're going to get decent enough odds on the horse.
And I remember what Chantel Sutherland told us about Wesley Ward horses. You got to hang on when they come out of the gates because they come out so fast that if you're not hanging on, she said, like, you got to hang on to them more than any other type of trainer horses because of the way the kind of thrust that they create when the gates open.
Well, and we've got all the big horses that are running, like Love Rain, and they've gotten the press. This one has gotten 0. I haven't seen anything written about this horse. My final choice is going to be number 21, Jumbo, with draw 3. First start was in a novice at Brighton and won easily. Then went to York and ran 3rd to a horse that I like for another race later tomorrow, Pillow Talk. And had some problems in that race. He got bumped right after the start, and then he was shifted around a little. And the comment line was the thing that sort of said, well, maybe I should put him in for 3rd. It said, did well despite the circumstances. So I thought that was an interesting observation from the chart maker. The last race he ran in she ran, I should say, it was a listed race. So, going back to open company, I think it's a good placement. It was an interesting, we're looking at the Dam. I mean, the sire of this horse was an Australian sprinter who transferred to England and ran twice, and once was at Royal Ascot and finished 2nd in a sprint, and he was basically a 6 furlong specialist. The Dam ran only one time, and she won on the all-weather, and this is her first foal, so we really don't know about the additionals, but everything points to being a sprinter in this horse, and that's what I'm looking for.
I'm a little concerned because we have a little bit of overlap in the 24 horse race. So I'm going to start,
and with 2-year-olds too.
Yeah, so that's really concerning. I'm going to start with Seismic Spirit. I'm going to give Wesley Ward an IRAD. I'm going to put him on top until the Americans bring one home, and then I can move him down my rankings. And then I'm going to go with number 12, likely to be the favorite, Little Big Bear, as my second choice. Coming down here again to Star of My Lady M as my 3rd choice. It's starting to get up in those odds, 25-1. And then your Jumbo is going to be my 4th choice. Also 25-1. So 3 out of 4, 24 horse field. And you and I agree on 3 out of 4. There's going to be.
Well, I don't pick 4, so.
Well, that's why I said we agree.
I probably could because these are huge fields.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 horse field, I would definitely not.
Yeah, well, that's why I only pick 3 because Terry and Sean get mad at me. Well, Terry doesn't matter. He picks 4 no matter what. Sean's the one that gets mad at me. He says, you can't pick 4 in a field of 5. Well, so I got to have a winner in there somewhere, right? What's funny is whenever Terry and I do or even in life, for whatever reason, if there's the other day, this is a great example, was at Belmont where I think I had the winner in all but one race as my top pick. And the one that I did not pick the winner as my top pick was the 2-horse race, which is just funny to me because that's how it always works. I can do like a pick 3, pick 4, where I have 4 out of 5 horses in one leg. I can assure you the 5th horse, the one that I don't have, is the one that always wins. And I don't know what. Give me a 13-horse field, I can pick a winner. Give me a 3-horse field, a 2-horse field, and just take whatever I don't take, you take, and you're guaranteed to collect. That's the funny thing. It really is.
It's really ironic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Alanis Morissette to death for sure. Let's go ahead and look at race number 7, the final race for Tuesday, June 15th, over at Royal Ascot. This one is 1 mile on a turf. It is the Kensington Palace handicap. So these palaces, the ones on the early days, are these like the better palaces, or are these like the like the secondary palaces that like the dukes and the earls and stuff get to live in?
I don't know the exact history of that. I know that obviously these are real places. The thing is, remember a couple years ago they added a 7th race to the card on all for Ascot, and so some of these are relatively new races. Whereas today, we had one that was started in 1892 or something like that. I mean, so we got a mixed bag of some that have been around a few years to some that are relatively new.
Yeah, sailing 1892 when the ocean was blue. All right, so let's take a look at what the early pace looks like here, Thomas. Again, for this mile-long race, you have a situation where most of the horses, I mean, you could just see here, it's lopsided with pressure closers, and closers. You only have 3 that like to get to the front. The 6 horse probably going to be your pace setter with the 2 and the 23 chasing close behind again at a mile. This mile is, let's pull that up on the screen, Thomas. This mile is the round version of the race. Yep. So let's take a look at the round version because we get a chance to do that this time. So it looks like they're going to come down here. And, that's really not that round. It's kind of straight, then a little turn, then straight again.
Yep.
So it's an L. It shouldn't say round. It should say L. For sure. So let's take us through the last picks for you, Tom, on Tuesday, June the 15th, the second day of racing at Royal Ascot.
I am going to take number 2, Angel Power, with draw 4 as my top choice.
I'm guessing the 1 horse scratch, since there's not a 1 in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me. Yep, the technique scratched and the 15 scratch.
Right. So that means this is the first 2 starts of the season were in listed company. It ran 3rd in both those races. Ran on the lead, which is interesting because you don't have it charted that way. And when it ran, or I should say ran, in last, blew by. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong horse.
Maybe that's why I don't have them charted that way.
Yeah, you're right. You had the right chart. I blew that one. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I got broad shoulders. It's like duck.
Yeah, it ran close to the lead, and then basically the winner blew past it, and it couldn't hold on for second, and kind of went the other way. Mm-hmm. And the winner won by 12.5 lengths.
Close.
So yeah, I would say it blew by. This is a Group 2 winner in 2020, but it only raced 3 times in 2021. So obviously there's been some issues. I think this is the drop in distance, and I think will help. And I think you're going to get some okay odds.
16-1 right now.
Number 16, Spirit of the Bay is my next choice. It has draw 6. Moves up in class to a class 2 last time out, and it ran 2nd over the Ascot course at a mile. Drifted a bit around in the race, and when she finally got going is when she really got the 2nd. It's not green, it's just the way the race was run. Has a really good record overall at the lower levels, and this looks like one of those improving 4-year-olds who had to mature a little. And William Cox is going to take the ride for his father, and he gets a 3-pound allowance. And we saw one of today's races, one of the apprentices won with a 5-pound allowance, and they say that's worth a half a length. He won by a length. So
he went anyway.
So yeah. So think about that when you look at him. Don't take the apprentice as being, they don't know what they're, because again, he doesn't have that many wins in his career. But that little extra weight off may help. Mm-hmm. And you are going a mile. 7 is my final choice. Rosemary in Time, who has draw 7. To say the horse hasn't done much lately is very true. It has 1 win, only 1 win in her career. But she's been running in group and listed company in a lot of those races. And she drops down a little bit to a class 2 for here. Now, this is Royal Ascot. So we're not racing at Beverly. So you have to take the class drop with a little bit of
trepidation.
You have got to think about it a little.
Mm-hmm.
I tossed the first race of the season out. She got bumped at the start, then she lost a shoe, and that race was over at that point. Her last race, I wouldn't call great, but it was better than the one before, and she raced near the rear. She moved forward at about 3 furlongs. She tried to go up the center of the track and then just kept going, but everybody else was going a little better than she was, but she ran okay. So why pick? I think she's been too aggressively placed in races. I think this is a much more palatable area where she's got to have more of a chance. And again, I'm looking for some decent odds, and I will point out that her only win is on the all weather, so that is something to be a little concerned about.
I'm going to start for the last race of the day. I guess my horse is looks like they scratched a couple of them here. There's no
there's two out.
Well, it doesn't look like the 12 is in here anywhere either, Thomas. So I don't know where the 12 did. Well, it was 11-13, so the 12
I think the 12 got knocked out too.
So they scratched that one. So that's the one I had on the top of my list, but that doesn't matter because I have every horse ranked. So I'm going to start with number. Never mind. I'm not going to start with that one either, Thomas, because that one got bounced too. Number 23. All right.
Remember, this is a gate. That 23 was a reserve.
So you didn't get in even with other people scratching. All right. But anyway, so then I'll go with number.
They can decide whether they want to run or not. It's just like.
So I'll start with Farah to Shy. We'll go with that one. That one's in there, right? The 4 horse. Going to start right in the middle.
Well, currently.
Yes. But by this time tomorrow, it won't be in there. And then I'm going to go, hopefully, with number 11, Fian, something like that. I think that's pronounced correctly.
That was one I considered. I thought that had a good chance.
Number 13, I love the jacket. So, I mean, just for the jacket's the only reason I'm picking number 13, State Occasion. And then I'm going to close it out with Spirit of the Bay. Probably some Journey knockoff song, Spirit of the Bay. All right, Tom. So that wraps up day number 2 for our look at the Royal Ascot. If you haven't done it earlier today, Terry and I, so for Tuesday night, so you're going to watch this, maybe Wednesday, the races will be over already. But Terry and I did Mountaineer for tonight. A lot of folks we know like to do the handicapping contest. So hopefully we got some winners for Mountaineer. I'll be playing the handicapping contest tonight, hopefully to qualify. I'm still trying to make that National Handicapping Championship back on that. I'm riding that horse again, Thomas.
I've tried before, so.
Well, I had a little plan, and so far the plan working out for me. My plan was, I keep spending $12, right? So the horse tourneys and the horse players are the same company. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to enter a couple tournaments, see if I can win some money in the tournament, and then take that tournament money and go turn around and try to use that. And I ended up winning one at Belmont Park. So now I have like $112, $112 tournament, something like that worth of budget to work with. So I don't have to pay $12. I'm playing with house money, so to speak, right? That's the way you want to play, with house money.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Mm-hmm. So if you're watching this on Wednesday, June the 15th, a little later on today, Terry and I will be doing Delaware Park. Thursday, we'll do Belmont Park. Not quite sure who our Thursday guest is. On Tuesday night, Sean and Chris Parmalu will be back at 8 p.m. With the Horse Center. They'll do it again tomorrow night, Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll host our typical The Player's Edge podcast. I have no idea what tracks we're doing, no idea who our guests are, because we've been way too consumed with this. And then Tom and I tomorrow will be back at 3 o'clock Eastern time to do day 3 of Royal Ascot. So that's plenty to keep you busy, right?
Oh, well, Royal Ascot really takes a lot of my time, I will say.
Quick question.
Do a lot of lookup and a lot of research to see if I can find anything that'll give me a decent horse at a decent price.
Especially in these like 33 horse fields. So you live a little bit north of me, and I live in Chicago. Tom lives in the northern suburbs. I'll put his direct address out on the. We'll dox him a little.
They can already find it.
I know, me too. My phone number, my address, everybody's name around me. Like, what the hell is that? I thought we had like an amendment that we were right to, we had a right to privacy. Apparently not. But in any case, did tornado sirens, were they going off by you last night like they were by me?
Actually, we got a lot of thunder and lightning. My little digital thing, that weather station I have out in my house, recorded 8,700 lightning strikes in the area. So it was obviously active, but we didn't get much rain. We got more good downpour, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain, but I was outside, and in the house I couldn't hear it. So I don't know what the purpose of these alarms are if you can't hear them in the house, right? But so I stepped out of the house to take the dog out before the rain was going to start, because when it rains, she's picky. She don't want to go outside, and the grass is wet. She don't want to put her feet on the wet grass. It's such a dainty little dog, but but my chubby blonde girl from my lab there, a little fat. But anyway, so I go outside. Woo! I was like, oh no! And I'm looking up at the sky, and then I turn on the news, and the lady on the news, as I was telling Terry, fear porn. For an hour and a half, they're going over this storm, and they're telling people that you have to wear your bicycle helmets in your house. What the hell are you people talking about? But anyway, it was kind of funny. I didn't have a bicycle helmet on. I just had on my dunce cap.
No, you had that one that's aluminum. That's a triangle.
Yes, that's right. I had on my conspiracy tinfoil hat for sure, Tom. All right, so that wraps up today for Tuesday. For Wednesday's races at the Royal Ascot. If you like what you saw, we appreciate it. The thumbs up. Thank you, Michael McRedmond and Timothy Butcher. If you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up on Facebook. Also, subscribe on YouTube. Hit that like button as well. The more likes we get, the better our ratio is. The better our ratio, the better our rankings is. And of course, always follow us on our social sites at Horse Race, 2Day on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our Swiss Army Sean keeps everybody up to speed with what we're doing. That way, when there's a show's about to break, you will know. Any final thoughts, Tom, before we start to prepare for tomorrow?
Again, if you have any ideas in those big field races, we would appreciate some help.
Yes, the comment section is wide open. Baby.
It's a little dizzying at some points, and you go, okay, now what?
Absolutely. Well, whether you're doing Mountaineer tonight, Royal Ascot tomorrow, or Delaware tomorrow, or wherever it is you're placing your bet, whatever it is you're doing, if you're living somewhere where the woos are going off, no matter what happens, man, we certainly hope that your day, your night, and your next day, and all of your handicapping, getting prepared for day 3 at Royal Ascot, Tom, ends up in the
winner's circle.
Indeed. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow.